how to best read crypto charts. If you are looking to trade crypto in order to make big sums of money during this bull market, then you need to have at least some understanding of how a crypto chart works. In this crypto chart tutorial, I'm going to take you through exactly how a trading chart works, understanding some simple patterns, as well as some simple rules on how you can buy the dips and sell the tops to be able to make big gains in crypto. So without further ado, hit that like button and let's get into today's video. Now guys, first things first, we're going to jump across to TradingView.com. This is a free website. There's a paid version available, but you don't need it. Now, as we jump across to this chart, there's a few things that we need to be aware of first of all. On the right-hand side, we have the symbols, which are basically the different currencies. Here we can see BTC, USD, and if you click on some others, you can see Solana USD, Foxy USD, the list goes on. But today we're going to be looking at Bitcoin USD. Now at the top, we can see these different numbers popping up. Now right now, I've clicked on 1 day, and if I change and click on other ones, you'll see that the chart in front of me changes dramatically, but we're going to stick with 1 day for this example. Now, as you see into the chart, we see lots of green and red bars. These are known as candlesticks. And because we clicked on the day, each of these 1 bars equals 1 day's worth of trading activity. So for example, on this day, which was the 20th of March, 2024, the price of Bitcoin opened at $66,100 and it went all the way up to $71,500. The following day, the price then moved all the way down here, and 2 days later, you can see it all returns. Now, you'll notice that different candlesticks are different shapes and sizes with different things going on. Now, every single candlestick comprises of 2 parts, a candle body and a wick. Now, if we look into this candlestick right here, you will see that the price opened at $67,289. At some point during that day, it came down to $66,900. Now, the top and bottom of the candlestick itself indicates the opening price on the day and the closing price on the day. You will notice that there is also wicks, sometimes on the top and bottom, or just on the top, or just on the bottom. These indicate where the price has ranged to during that day. Now, if you drop down to different time frames, the story is exactly the same, but each of these candles, for example, here is now 1 hour or 5 minutes, etc. And you can see each candle is comprised of a body, wicks, etc. With me so far? If you need to go and watch it again, then make sure you go and check it out, because this is essential to understanding how crypto charts work. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, smash that like button. Now, if you've been in crypto for at least 5 minutes, and you've probably come across to YouTube and seen people talking about these charts all day, every day. While they might seem random and a bit confusing if you're new to this, there is method to the madness, and they can be used to understand where the price might be going next by looking at what has happened already. Now, as we look into big candlesticks like this that haven't opened at the bottom of the day and close at the top of the day with very little wicks towards either direction, these indicate that there is big momentum in the direction they're going. In this case, in the bullish direction, which is up. When we see large candles like this, we can identify that there is a good chance that we're going to see continuation in the price in the same direction. However, after a period of time of moving towards the upside, it's likely that more people are going to want to try and sell it than buy it because it's become too expensive. Therefore, you want to be on the lookout for these particular candlesticks. This particular candlestick you see here with a large base and a big wick towards the upside is telling us a very crucial piece of information. It tells us that within that daily period, the Bitcoin's price rose all the way up to 49,000 and then got squeezed all the way back down to 46,500. This candle indicates a momentum shift from the upside towards the downside, and the very following day you can see that the Bitcoin price pulls back aggressively. Therefore, if ever you're seeing these large wicks towards the upside, you should be very careful because there's a very good chance that the next day you might see a pullback in the other direction. These candlesticks can be called reversal hammers, spinning tops, or whatever you want to call them. These candlesticks exist in both directions. As you can see after this one that happened here, Bitcoin's price pulled down and we got another wick towards the downside on this hammer candle, and then we pushed up in that direction. So simply from a candlestick perspective, if we see big long candles, there's a good chance that we're going to continue in that direction. But if we see long wicks towards the upside, there's a chance we're about to pull back down. And if we see wicks on the downside, there's a good chance that we're about to pull up. Although you probably can't just rely on candlesticks, there's a few other things that we need to be aware of. Now on to the next bit, which you can probably hear being called various different things. Either it could be called support and resistance zones, or supply and demand zones, Effectively, it means the same thing. If you look into a chart, then you probably start to identify that often the price will start to turn around in certain areas like this. Now this here is Solana, and you can see that every time the price is dropping down towards this zone, it starts to show these long wicks towards the downside. Remember, when we see those wicks, there's a good chance that the price might see a reversal back in the opposite direction. Once we start to see that these are all bouncing in the same zone, we can identify that this is a support zone, or if you want to call it a demand zone, where Solana is being bought up every time. Therefore, if I decided that Solana was clearly getting bought up in this area, I could draw my box on, and if I get the chance and the price returns to this zone, maybe there's a chance that I might go and buy it. As we click on the replay mode, you can see the price drops back down into that zone. We would have then been able to purchase our Solana perfectly here and watch the price reverse in the direction we wanted. Now we would be sat up around 18.75%. So remember, what we're looking for is a zone, and there's a very easy way to identify these zones. As you can see on this particular Solana chart, the candles have been moving aggressively up in this direction. And what we really want to identify is where these big green candles have come from. So simply we can go down and find an area that we saw a push and a pull back into a zone, and then we can draw a green box anticipating what might happen if we get a return back down. You can see after taking some time that eventually the price pulls back into this zone, and you can see that this is our first indicator the price might turn around, and this is what I like to call on my channel a buy zone. Now, if you've been involved in crypto for a little bit longer and you want to see what coins I'm buying on a daily basis, how I track different wallets from key players in the crypto market, as well as understanding market psychology, then make sure you head across to my other channel and subscribe to the House of Crypto. And while you're at it, subscribe to the School of Crypto, where 3 times a week we give you live trading shows, myself and the trading legend Dylan. There's also going to be various tutorials that are coming up a few times a week. So make sure you subscribe to keep up to date. Let me show you again how this works. We can see that there's been a big move up from here that originated just around this zone here. We can see we had a big push, we pulled back into the zone, and then the price pumped significantly, and this is for Fala Network. Therefore, we could draw our box on, and eventually after a period of time, the price returns into this box and you can see it being bought up. So guess what? You never need to buy these massive pumps anymore. You simply need to work out where the price might pull back to and patiently wait for the opportunity to be able to buy in. Now, in the same way that we get support zones, we also get resistance zones, which is a zone where people are willing to sell. And looking at Solana and clicking on the 1 week chart, we can look at the resistance zones that existed in the last bull market, and we can draw them on our chart. Now, what I like to do with my resistance zones is make them red, so that I know not to buy into resistance zones, I only buy into demand zones. Now, in order to identify the resistance zones, we simply are looking for the tops, and we're looking at areas where the price might have changed direction. So previously you see Solana runs up here, pulls back down. It finds resistance again, eventually it breaks through, it comes down, and then it finds resistance here and pulls back down. This resistance zone was formed back in January of 2022 and is still current to this day. We can then draw that second resistance zone on and see what happened recently back in March when Solana ran into this zone. Solana pulled all the way back around 42% towards this demand zone or buy zone, whatever you want to call it. Many people who didn't know this about charts were trying to buy into this area. The price was getting sold off and you could have bought Solana 42% cheaper if you just known these things. Now, if we see Solana pull back up into the zone, there's a good chance that we see again resistance. Although each time it runs in, less people are there to sell it, and eventually the price will break through. Now, what we can anticipate if we do see a breakthrough is a bounce back into the area through here where we might see continuation. Why? Because previous areas of resistance become support, and previous areas of support become resistance. So this was a previous area of resistance. If we break through, there's a good chance it pulls back and it tests it as a newfound support. On the flip side, as another example, you can come back here and you can see that Solana had support here multiple times and eventually breaks down through previous support, which is what it was here, flips and becomes resistance and then crashes down. Okay, previous support equals resistance. Previous resistance equals support. So now we're simply understanding buy zones and sell zones and combining this with what we know about candlestick patterns. This gives us a good indication where we might be about to see a push towards the upside, or a push towards the downside. Now we can also see something below which might be of use to you. If you click on indicators and you search for volume, I want you to go down and add this one where it says volume. You can see these green and red bars appear. Now what these indicate is how many people are rushing in and buying or selling on any given day. And what we're looking for in these areas that when we rush down into is good amounts of volume. If the price continues to fall without much volume, there is little chance that it's going to turn around anytime soon. What we're simply looking for is volume to enter into the market like it does here after that little quiet zone down here. Okay, so once we start to see volume enter the market again, there's a good chance we might see continuation, especially if the volume is buy volume after the price has been moving towards the downside. Now there's lots of fancy trading patterns out there, but I'm just going to give you a few key ones. One's for reversals, one's for continuation. Now when the price is moving in an upwards direction, one very common pattern that we get after one turnaround is a double top. You can see that it makes the M pattern, it runs into the same area, and then eventually it pulls back down through this area. And the move from this is typically the height of the M pattern down to the bottom area here. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken the height of the M pattern, okay, and I've moved it to the point at the bottom of the M, and it moves all the way down there. Now, if you see a double top, or you're running up into an area that's previously been resistance, this should probably discourage you from buying into those zones. Now, this is on the top side. Obviously, on the bottom side, we get a similar double bottom patterns, sometimes triple bottom patterns, and this indicates that we are likely to go higher, or on the top, lower. Another very common reversal pattern is that of a head and shoulders, where we have a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder. Typically, the shoulders are around a similar height, and they also come in reversals, okay? So basically taking that pattern, flipping it upside down. Here we can see one on Solana where we have the head in the middle, we see a shoulder on one side, and another shoulder on the other, indicating a likelihood of going higher. Here you can see again, by taking the height of the head and shoulder and moving it to the neckline there, you can see that we move our price target up here. Hopefully this is starting to show you that this isn't all random smoke and mirrors and games of magic, but there is actually some science to this madness. Now there's also things like broadening wedges, ascending triangles, and so much more. And if you're subscribed to the channel, then later on this week, I'm going to introduce to you a video with all of these different trading chart patterns and how you can use them to identify some good chances to enter into the market or to sell and take profits. Remember, to learn to trade takes some hard work and effort on your part, but if you do it properly, it's going to pay dividends in this bull market because you still have the potential to see life-changing money. If you understand charts, you can do some crypto research, and you understand the psychology of the market. Now, if you want to learn trading and you want to gain access to some exclusive trading signals on a daily basis, then you simply need to click for the Telegram link down below to join the CoinW Traders group. In here, you can gain access to daily trading signals from Dylan, who also does weekly live streams on this channel. You can ask questions to the team about different trading ideas and setups that you've got access to, as well as sharing various different profits. And as well, you can gain access to more trading education just like this video today. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, then subscribe. Also go over to my other channel, the House of Crypto, and subscribe over there. And I look forward to you joining me next time.